Are you a business owner looking to grow your business in South Africa? Tune in to the Blaze podcast with Telkom Business. Learn from the experts and get tips on marketing, finance, innovation, and more. Blaze with Telkom Business.
Welcome to another exciting episode of the Telkom Business Blaze podcast, where we bring you inspiring stories, powerful insights, and the voices of those shaping the future of business and beyond. I'm your host, Mashudu Modau, and today we have a very special guest who embodies the essence of passion, resilience, and creativity. Joining us is the incredibly talented Danielle Steynvaardt. Danielle is not only one of Telkom's influential brand partners, but she's also a multifaceted entrepreneur, performer, mother, wife, and mentor. Through her social media platforms, she educates and empowers her audience, providing valuable content that resonates with people from all walks of life. In today's conversation, we'll dive deep into Danielle's journey as an influencer, explore how she successfully balances her various roles, and gain insight into what it takes to build a brand that's both impactful and sustainable in today's digital age. Trust me, you won't want to miss this one. Danielle, welcome. Just to start with, just share with us your journey as being a Telkom brand influencer.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and to be part of this podcast. Listen, I've been a part of Telkom for more than 11 years. I want to say around 13, 14, I've been one of their customers.
Yeah.
And they played such a big role in me developing as an entrepreneur and building my brand and starting my business and connecting me to the world. So when Telkom actually contacted me to say listen, we want to partner up with you.
Yeah.
Will you be one of our brand ambassadors? I was over the moon because I felt it was almost like a relationship that was bound to happen. I truly believed in what Telkom stands for. And so that's how I became part of this incredible brand. And I have to say, it just felt right. I think Telkom is such a heritage brand, and they give back. And I think I hope that's what my brand stands for. That's what I'm fighting for, to be one of the brands that really, truly gives back and encourages and equips and educates.
Yeah, it's so good when, you have one of these opportunities where, there's a perfect alignment between you and the partner that you're working with, and your values align, and the way that you think about the impact that you want to have in the world is the same as well. How's the journey been so far?
It's incredible. It's the most fun I've ever had.
Yeah.
And it's so true that what you said now, how it needs to align. And it's hard to find brands that you truly align with. And I think it's crucial, especially as an influencer, because I need to be authentic to who I am.
Yep.
And I need to be truthful to my audience. So I don't ever want to partner with a brand that I don't believe in wholeheartedly.
We mentioned in the intro how many different roles that you play in your life as an entrepreneur, performer, mother, wife, and mentor. How do you even begin to juggle all these things?
As you introduce me, I always think, and it happens every time I'm getting interviewed, I think how do I do this? But I have to say, it's not really about juggling. Some people would ask you, how do you balance it? And I have to say, there's no such thing as balancing all of these roles. It's impossible. Never, ever in my life will I be able to give the exact amount to every part of who I am or to every hat that I need to wear. So I think it's more about prioritizing and knowing what is the most important at this stage, and then having a crew, that helps you. And it's not always just somebody that works for you. My husband is really he's kind of the driving force behind me being able to be so multifaceted.
Yeah.
And so prioritizing and being able to go, listen, babe, I'm not going to be able to pick Zinzi up, it's my daughter, because at this stage, business needs to take a little bit more of my time. So, and then he mans up and he would take over that stage, But then in his professional life, there's also times where he needs to go listen, I'm not going to be 100% at home. Will you pick up the pace there? And so it's the same with every part of my business and every hat that I need to wear. I just ask myself, what is the most important at this stage? And then I give what I can to that.
Yeah, that's a really great way to think about things. And, there's actually a very popular saying from Jeff Bezos where he says, there is no work-life balance. There's more work-life integration where, work and life are not separate.
Yes.
You have to try and navigate them in the best possible way for you to drive the results that you really want. How do you build that kind of support system and have those hey, husband, look, this is not the time. Things are different for me.
Listen,
how do you even have those conversations?
It's rough because, I know this is not a marriage podcast, but I have to tell you, getting married to the right person is probably one of the biggest most crucial parts of your life, because you need to choose somebody that's going to be there and that's going to like really push you to be the best that you can possibly be. So I think especially when you get to that age where you need to get married, like you really need to make sure that you choose the right life partner, but then also to make sure that you've got people that encourage you and that believe in you. And it's hard to find lately. Jealousy is a thing. It's not only, it's not something that you leave at school. It just comes with you, especially if you build your life as a brand. But I have to say, what also really helps with this is when you build a brand that's authentic to who you are. For me to play these different roles, it's not hard because it's who I am. It's every part of it is truly being an influencer. It comes naturally to me to want to motivate and to want to influence you. To be a businesswoman, I grew up with business. It comes naturally to me. The first thing I do when I walk into a room, I'm like, I can make money with that. And if I put this and this together, we can do that. It just comes naturally. So I think when you find something that you're passionate about, there's that saying that says, when you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
And it's so true. As cliche as it is, it's so true. Find a brand that's authentic to who you are, and it'll come naturally.
Yeah. I always think like entrepreneurs try and separate their lives completely from the business stuff. And I know you said we are not a marriage podcast, but I do think like just having that full picture of what it takes to be an entrepreneur is also important, and how much life also features in that as well. But, just to, pull back the conversation to what we want to, help our audience learn from you. How do you ensure that the content remains educational and engaging? And I feel like just having this conversation, this is who you are. So this is how you speak, you educate in that way.
I think it's also taking what happens to you in life, whatever ball the life throws at you.
Yep.
You take that and then you ask yourself, what did I learn and how can I educate other people? So for me to push out content that's educational or inspirational, it's literally just me sharing, listen guys, this is how I struggled. This is the stuff I went through. And sharing openly and candidly and saying, I failed because I did X, Y, and Z wrong. You don't have to, because I'm sharing my story with you. So I think that's how I also approach my content. What did I go through? What did I learn? And how can people actually take something away from that?
Speaking about how you want to be able to share your own journey, how do you see your role as a mentor to influence the next generation of entrepreneurs?
I think it's so important for us to see business as something that we need to start putting integrity back into business, and integrity starts with good character. And I think that's how I feel if we can start raising a generation that's focused on integrity. Like what I say is what I'll do, and what I'll do is what I'll say. Like everything just aligns. It's who I am. When I live out my content, that's the mantra I want to live out. And if we start putting that into business, and I think that's truly what I want to tell people, like just be true to who you are. If you don't believe in your product, how can you expect anybody else to believe in your product? If you wouldn't pay for your service, how can you expect somebody else to pay for your service, So always live, I've got this tattoo that says, it's in Afrikaans, it says, met elke hartklop. So it means with every heartbeat. So everything you do, you need to ask yourself, is this making my heartbeat faster? And if I'm doing this, am I doing it with every heartbeat?
Yeah.
If you're not, stop. Don't do it. Don't sell the product. Don't do the service, supply the service. Because if it's not with every heartbeat, then your customer shouldn't have it.
Yeah, and because you have this dedication to and care about the work that you're doing, it influences how you do it as well, right?
Yes, it's full of passion. And what's the beauty about passion? Like if someone is in your sphere, they'll become passionate as well.
Yeah. What advice would you give to women who are looking to follow in your footsteps and learn from, having these multiple roles in their lives and being able to integrate everything and be able to, be the best that they can be in those roles?
I think often when we think of I want to start a business or I want to be an entrepreneur, we go out and we look for gaps in the industry. And that's good. We should do that. But I also feel it's so important for you to ask yourself, what am I good at and what do I love? And how can I make money off of that? Because if you do that, you can put yourself into the position of an entrepreneur. You can put yourself into the position of being an influencer. And then playing the role of mom and wife comes so naturally because it's part of who you are. So find a business that really connects to who you are and then ask yourself, how can I how can I make money off of this? And let me tell you, there's money to be made.
That's
Always.
There's always opportunities.
Always.
There's always opportunities. You know, speaking about you being a mom, how has being a mom influenced your approach to your career and your business?
I'm not going to lie, that was probably the hardest transition I've ever had to make. I don't know if it's the same for men, but as a mom, all you want to do is you want to raise this child. You just want to become this mom. So it was huge for me to realize I can't put everything into my child, although I want to. I still need to pay attention to all these other roles that I am playing. So to the women out there who are struggling with that, I almost want to say it's so normal to need to try and almost find that what is going to be a priority right now. But also, you build a brand because you know your daughter is going to benefit from it, you know, and you want to be an example to her and you want to show her you can be your own boss. You can determine your own time slots and you can do whatever you put your mind to.
Yeah. Just going back to, you know, what you're actually building, tell us more about Tada. Also, amazing name. I love the name. Just like, firstly, how did you get the name?
Listen, it's such an interesting story because I studied drama at the University of Pretoria and we had I think it was an assignment that we were supposed to do. So we would write out a business plan. Obviously, my lecturer didn't know that I grew up in a family with 5 siblings and we were all forced to be part of business. My dad was an entrepreneur growing up. He sold secondhand cars and he eventually had so many dealerships. So this was the conversations we had. So when I got this assignment, I was like, listen, I'm going to ace this one. And the first thing I did was, what is the name going to be? I think that's the most fun part of a business, you know, finding the name. So Tada would be Theatre Arts and Drama Academy. So that's what it stands for. And obviously it's a performing arts school. So being able to go Tada was such a beautiful thing to me. And I started this business plan and I handed it over to my dad. And I'm like, Dad, this is going to be more than just an assignment. This is going to be my business. My dad was like over the moon because he was so worried when I said I'm going to study drama. He's like, oh my goodness, this daughter of mine, she's going to live with me forever, you know. So when I handed over this assignment to him and I told him, Dad, I want to do this, will you please be my first investor? And he told me, I don't have too much to give you right now, but what I can do is I'm going to create a space for you where you can start your first classes.
Yeah.
And so that's all I wanted to do. I wanted to train up aspiring actors and performers. I never had that growing up. You know, you would go to Tiny Sally, you know, and go for acting classes, but it was never true acting.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to give people the thing that I lacked growing up. And that's how Tada developed and happened. And so right now, Tada is 13 years old. We're one of the leading performing arts schools. And now it's also turning into a college where you can do your NQF5 after school to study performing arts. So my youngest student is like 3, and my oldest student is 64.
Oh, wow. That's insane.
It's crazy, right?
How important has it been to have a parent that was involved or like was very entrepreneurial and was also, like you said, forcing you into understanding what it means to run a business and build a business? How important was that for you?
I think it really counted in my favor. I'll definitely say that. But then I look at my husband, he's an engineer, and he never had that. He's adopted. So he never had that parent that was pushing him the way I had. But he still rose to the occasion, you know, like he's still so successful.
Yeah.
So I almost want to say, yes, it's so crucial, but without it, you can still become a great success. But if you're in a position where you have kids, I would always say, encourage them, like be there, ask them what's your passions, what do you want to do, and how can I help you? How can I elevate you?
Yeah, that's so important. What has been your proudest moment of Tada?
I would definitely say, like I always knew we were going to be a training facility, but I never thought it would turn into a college. And I think that was probably one of my proudest moments, is being able to go, listen, we wrote 6 syllabuses, like it's incredible, all of these educational tools, and it's available now. And I think by my most proud moment is still coming. 2025, we are launching our first online sector. So
incredible.
That's going to be all about.
That's amazing.
Thank you so much. So it's going to be all about podcasting. It's all the different elements, you know, like sometimes you don't want to go into performing arts per se. You don't want to become an actor. But in today's day and age, you really need to be able to talk in front of a crowd, present stuff, you know, maybe you start a podcast. How do I do that? How do I get it on Spotify and on the actual podcast platforms?
Yeah. You know, when we think about South Africa, typically the sort of performing arts are definitely not encouraged by parents, right? And I think it's such an important thing for an organization like what you're building that it actually exists. How have you seen it sort of influence a lot more people understanding how much of a career comes from those things? Like you're saying, it's not just the acting in front of a camera with a script. It might be presenting online. It might be, you know, building out platforms for yourself, but also just communicating really well, which has become so important in our world now. You know, how have you seen the impact and the influence that it's driving?
So true what you're saying, Mashudu, because I think people always think of like performing arts, you're an actor, right?
Yeah.
And there's this thing about being an actor. But to me, it's so much more important. It's teaching people you've got a story. And how are you going to tell that story? And without communication, we cannot make a difference. And today in 2024, there are so many possibilities that really, like performing arts opens the door to that. Influencing. I would never be able to be part of Telkom if I didn't have this background of how to carry myself, how to communicate. And I have to say, Tada really opened doors in that facet, because we are not just teaching you acting or singing or dancing. We're teaching you life skills. How do you build social media? How do you start your own podcast? How do you build a brand? And what does that involve? Because without you being able to present yourself, you'll never be able to build a proper brand.
That's so true. What role does technology play in really helping you know, be able to run your business and manage your responsibilities as well?
In my industry, it's crucial because we work with cameras, we do editing, we are online, everything needs to go to the cloud. So technology to me is kind of everything. It's also crucial because we've got different teachers in different towns. So for me to communicate with the teachers, what are you going to teach? You know, for us, we need to do online meetings. So everything is over the internet, it's over Zoom, and we don't have to sit in one room anymore.
That's so true. How do you stay motivated and inspired to keep doing what you're doing?
I want to tell you I'm motivated all the time, but I'm not. There are moments in life where you will not be motivated and you will not be inspired. And I almost want to say that's okay too, but don't drown in that. Like you're going to feel that and then you're going to go, no, Danielle, pick yourself up, dust yourself off. You need to start again because it's worth it, you know, and because you're doing this for yourself and for your family. I think my motivation truly comes from the fact that whenever I get bored, I try something new.
Yeah.
As soon as something's established, I'll be like, okay, what can I put my focus on next? And that really fuels me and it keeps me going. Also keeps you young.
That's true. Challenges definitely keep you young. And, you know, what are some of the challenges that you've had to building this business, but also existing in the digital space?
It's hard. I always say this, like, with a lot of technology comes a lot more competition. You know, like there's a lot of people that can do what I do.
Yeah.
And then that's always a challenge. How do I stay on top of it? How do I stay ahead of the crowd? And I think the way I've actually overcome this challenge is to go, but I am me, and nobody else can do what I can do the way that I can do that. It's definitely one of the challenges that I was able to overcome. On social media, and if I think of the digital world, and I think of me as an influencer, maybe you can tell me how you feel about it. But I also feel like when you look at a lot of other influencers, you're like, oh, my content doesn't look like that. Or, you know, it's not as sleek. It's not as authentic. It's not, maybe I should be more. Maybe I should be a little less. You know, you never feel good enough. But it's also then training yourself to go, but you are good enough.
I think we're living now, unfortunately, in an age of comparison too much. I think it also, like, you know, cliches are cliches for a reason. They're usually true, right? And the old cliche of, you know, comparison is the thief of joy is like so true. And I think as soon as you are not necessarily focused on improving who you were before, but actually looking to the right or to the left, you completely lose the plot, right? And, you know, the Olympics just happened. You see those runners, they are not looking to the side.
At all.
They are going straight full on, like, I am focused on my performance, on my ability, on my skill, and getting the best result that I can in what I can do. And I think that we need a lot more of that in the creative space, in the business space even as well.
I think it's also true, like the fact that you said they don't look around, but they also don't look back.
No.
You don't spend time on your failures. You don't spend time on the business idea that didn't work. You take what you can from it and you move on.
I'd love to actually learn more about your relationship with failure. You know, when you do experience failure, how do you process it, but also overcome it in order to try again?
I think failure is something that you can only overcome when you are rooted in who you are. Like, you need to know, who am I? What am I good at? What am I not great at? And then when you fail, you ask yourself, okay, was it my fault? Was it something else? And if it is your fault, that's great, because you can always change you. You know, if it's something that you are in control of, you can change the narrative. But failure is fantastic. It is beautiful. There is such power in being able to fail and then get back up and go, listen, I'm going to do this again.
Yeah.
And then just fail better.
Fail better. I love that. I love that so much. You know, I've really appreciated our conversation. I hope a lot of people have learned a lot, and not just learned, but also feel encouraged and inspired by you. Just to end off with, what is one thing that you wish you knew, or one thing that you know now, so late into your journey, or like with amazing goals and amazing achievements coming as well, that you wish you knew at the beginning of your journey?
Hard work pays off. Like, people think, you know, people think that most of the time success just chases those people. They were destined to be successful. But that's not the truth.
Yeah.
Like, hard work pays off. I think talent can open a door, but the only thing that truly keeps that door open is hard work. So it doesn't matter if you've got a natural talent to build a brand, or natural talent to sing, or natural talent to act. It's never going to keep that door open.
Yeah.
Train yourself, put in the hard work, because nothing else will. There's no other joy as great as knowing I've put in the hard work and now I'm reaping
The rewards of
the
that.
rewards. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I feel encouraged. I feel inspired. And I really hope that the people that are watching this, the people that are listening to you, but also go online and find the work that you're doing, they can learn from you even more. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mashudu. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us today. Danielle's journey has been truly inspiring, showcasing how she balances multiple roles with remarkable grace and determination. Her insights into building a sustainable brand, navigating the digital space, and maintaining core values have provided us with valuable takeaways. Remember to stay tuned for more episodes of the Telkom Business Blaze podcast, where we continue to bring you stories and insights from those shaping the future. I'm Mashudu Modau. Take care.